Okay, so these are the two questions that you had asked about. So this is question 4. So what I was saying is that the first thing that you need to do is look at the root. So the root is a 4. And if it's an even root, we can't have a negative number underneath the root. So we're going to set what's underneath the root equal to 0. So in this case, maybe we're going to say x squared plus 2x equals 0. So we're going to have to factor that. So we're going to take out an x. So we'd have x plus 2 equals 0. So then x equals 2 or sorry, x equals -2 or x equals 0. So what I do is I would create a number line. And on my number line, I'm going to put -2 and I'm going to put 0. And that's the two places where it's equal to 0. So I need to determine in those 3 intervals if that function would be positive or negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at x squared plus 2x. And I'm going to plug in a number that's smaller than -2. So let's plug in -3. So if we plug in -3, we have -3 squared plus 2 times -3. That gives me 9 minus 6, which is 3. So in that interval, we are positive. So then we need to pick a number between -2 and 0. So let's pick -1. So if we do -1, we'd have -1 squared plus 2 times -1. That gives me 1 minus 2, which is a -1. So it's negative in that part of, in that interval. Now pick a number bigger than 0. We can pick 1. So in this case, we'd have 1 squared plus 2 times 1, which that's going to give me 3. So it's positive over here. So we can put a positive number underneath that 4th root, but we can't put a negative number. So our intervals where it is positive would be here and here. You can have a 0, so it can include 0. So if we were writing this in interval notation, we would say it goes from -infinity to -2. Because it can equal -2, it would have what we call a closed bracket. Or, which is our union, it could be 0 or above. So again, a closed bracket, we would have 0, infinity. Infinities will always have parentheses. If it can equal the value, it will have a square bracket. If it cannot equal the value, it would have a parenthesis. So that was question 4. If we look at question 5, when it's talking about the domain of this function, and we're looking at this table that's up here. So domain is your x values. So we can go anything from 1 to 12. So it can include 1 and it can include 12. So if you are looking at that, you want to do something similar in interval notation for the next one, which is dealing with that function. So I want you to try that one. Hopefully these 2 examples will help you a little bit with your interval notation. Let me know if you have any other questions. Have a great weekend.